Welcome to Justin Miller Art. While I was in Europe recently for work and quite a lot of play, I've shot 3 stories about some of the best places to explore the art scene in London. No one can deny that this city is one of the world's most extraordinary art hubs, a magnet for dealers, collectors, auctioneers and art aficionados from all over the planet. As with all major cities, you really need to know where to look in order to uncover the truly exceptional, because this ancient city really can be quite overwhelming. There's such a depth to the market here, whether you're into medieval manuscripts or cutting-edge contemporary art, antiques or the avant-garde. The range of both fine and decorative art on offer, especially during the season in summer and fall, is invariably exceptional. Spurred on by the record-breaking sale of Edvard Munch's iconic painting The Scream, for a total price of almost $120 million, I met up with my old friend Lord Poltimore, one of the art world's most famous auctioneers, to discuss the recent Impressionist sales in both New York and London. I hope you enjoy this glimpse into the fascinating world of art. Well, congratulations on the recent sales, and certainly things seem to be moving along in quite the right direction at the moment.
Well, thanks, Justin. Yes, I mean, the sales in New York have been amazing. I think we were particularly lucky to have Edvard Munch's The Scream. And what we're seeing in the market really is quality. Anything that's of huge quality sells. It's like buying a property. Location is important. With art, it's quality. The only thing is trying to work out what the quality is.
Yes.
But if you take The Scream, Edvard Munch's Scream, it was one of 4 versions. But it is such an iconic image. I mean, trying to think of more than 5 subject matters in the art world that's ever been painted is quite tricky. You've probably got the Mona Lisa, you may have Michelangelo's David, Rembrandt's Night Watch, maybe a Van Gogh of some description, self-portrait or something. But then, you know, it's quite a sort of grey area. And we thought The Scream was just one of the great subjects ever painted. And that's why we always thought it could make sort of in excess of $80 million. Is what we perhaps call a trophy picture.
Yes.
And even though it was pastel on paper, and one of 4 versions, like I said, you know, it made this incredible price of $120 million, just shy of $120 million, including all our commissions. But it was pretty amazing.
But you must find those sorts of auctions electrifyingly exciting.
God, they're exciting. I mean, it's such a nerve-wracking sort of exercise, because you are never quite sure what's going to happen. But in this case, it was just perfect.
Yes, and of course, famously, you had one sale some years ago with your Picasso where the bidder had never purchased at auction before.
Well, that's the excitement of auction, isn't it?
Of course.
Yes, it was quite interesting. I think that there was this buyer towards the back of the room, and you know, he did spend a lot of money. I think blue chip is a very good way of describing what is selling. Any major name and a quality work by that major name is easy to sell.
Yes.
So we're looking at all the big Impressionists, some of the big old master names, and of course some of the big contemporary names, you know, Warhol, etc., etc. So it's the big names that seem to be selling well.
And you're selling to what parts of the world?
Well, we're selling all over. I mean, I'm responsible in particular for the emerging markets, which I always find rather a derogatory term, because a lot of these markets emerged long before Europe or any other so-called sophisticated.
Indeed.
So Russia, for instance, we're seeing a huge increase of Russian buying at the moment, both in Impressionists and in old masters, and of course Russian art. Just to give you a small example, in 2001 we did about $9 million of Russian art. By 2008 we were doing $250 million of Russian art.
That's an exponential growth.
It is pretty amazing. Then, and I have to say that's come off, we'll probably do about 100 million of Russian art this year, but they're probably spending 3 or 4 times that in other areas, so jewellery, Impressionist, contemporary.
I see. So with your dedication to developing the Russian market, you've then encouraged Russians to buy across the board.
Of course. And the entry point is something they understand, Russian art. But we're also, we're looking at the stans, you know,
yes.
Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, all these sort of places I think could be interesting with huge growth of wealth. And China, of course, incredibly important to us. We now have a sale room in Hong Kong, which has only just opened.
Yes.
Middle East is very important, Brazil. It's the BRIC countries, you know, and although, don't forget Europe.
Yes.
Or, I mean, there is still money here.
Of course.
And you might not believe that, but there is.
But that's actually an interesting point you bring up, because we're constantly reading in the press about the woes and perils in Greece and the problems with Spain. And of course it must have a profound effect, one would imagine, on the art market, be it in a positive sense or in a negative sense. I
think psychologically it's quite a negative effect, but on the positive side, a lot of people are frightened about what to do with their money, and therefore they wanted to put it into tangibles, whether it's a picture or whether it's a piece of jewellery. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a real flight of money into something that you can actually get your hands on, which is beneficial to us. I think one of the sort of perhaps problems is it gets more and more difficult to find great things.
I was about to say that, because with this demand it must be a constant struggle trying to get the auctions together.
It's never easy, but every year we do it.
Yeah,
We've been doing it for 30 years, and I think you've been doing it sometime in your past. And also you see new artists coming forward, don't you? It's not always necessarily the big names, but there are other very good, competent artists, perhaps paying for the second 11, that are now first 11 money. And
you've conducted some extraordinary auctions over the years, and certainly some wonderful charity auctions. As perhaps one of the country, if not one of the world's most famous auctioneers. And you must have some wonderful stories. I mean, there must be some mad things that have happened over the years with some of your auctions.
Well, you are kind. I mean, I love doing charity auctions because it's a very good way of giving something back. But we do find that you see all sorts. I mean, I took a charity auction the other day when someone appeared. Actually, it wasn't even charity, it was a proper auction. Someone appeared with a parrot on their shoulder, which did sort of slightly sort of change the atmosphere a bit. And it was quite a vicious parrot. It kept pecking the next door neighbours. So that was one thing. But only, I have to say, it was a Russian auction, so only that would happen in a Russian auction. I'm looking forward to wolves and bears and the next time. But charity auctions can be fun, and I think there's a sort of a much more sort of lighter atmosphere. And I sold something the other day. It was a little Hermes saddle to go on a horse, I assume, or donkey or whatever it was. And I thought it was worth about $3,000 on a good day with the wind behind it. And I started to sell, and then someone went, $100,000. Obviously got a lunch appointment or a dinner appointment, whatever. Anyway, so, and we sold it for $250,000. When he put it back into the auction, we sold it 3 times for $250,000. Thanks, nice to see you.